Welcome back to your go-to source for all things news, the one and only Dasty News Network, where we always put the real stories first. I'm thrilled to be your host today, ready to bring you the latest scoop straight to your screen. Now, y'all know I love the Lord. He's heard my prayers, and His mercy has carried me through so much. Coming from the heart of the Black Church, my love for Jesus runs deep, truly, genuinely. But let's be honest, not every church event goes as expected. Sometimes, what's meant to be holy can take a very unexpected turn. And that's exactly what happened to this woman. A simple church outing at her pastor's home ended up shaking her world in ways she never saw coming. I'll admit, I debated whether to even share this story. It was one of those experiences that leaves you questioning if anyone will understand. But keeping it in isn't an option. I have to tell it.so here's what went down. Over the weekend, I got invited to a church out. I drove 2 hours to pastor's house, excited to catch up and enjoy some fellowship. Upon arrival, I was greeted by the usual warm hellos and smiles, meeting everyone and settling into the rhythm of the gathering. I was just sitting around, chatting and catching up with people I knew from church, enjoying the cookout, everything seeming perfectly normal, until it wasn't. The laughter, the smell of barbecue, the friendly chatter, it all felt comfortable, familiar, the kind of atmosphere you expect at a community gathering. I even recognized a few faces from church, people I'd seen on Sundays, shaking hands, exchanging hellos, making small talk. About an hour into the cookout, I realized I needed to use the restroom. So I asked the pastor's wife, politely, "Excuse me, where's the restroom?" She pointed me in a direction, and I began making my way through what I quickly realized was a gigantic house, a literal mansion. I mean, this place had hallways that seemed to stretch on forever, doors lining every corridor, twists and turns at every corner. It felt like I was navigating a maze, and I half expected a minotaur to pop out at any moment. The first door I tried wasn't the restroom. Nope, just another empty room, probably for storage or some decorative purpose. I shrugged and continued down the hall. Second door, still nothing. A few more twists, a couple of turns, and finally, I spotted what I thought was the destination. Washed over me. I was about to have a moment of privacy, a break from the noise of the gathering. I opened the door, fully expecting an empty room, maybe a sink, some towels, the usual. But what I saw made my blood run cold. There, in front of me, was the pastor, and he wasn't alone. He was with another man. And when I say with another man, I mean exactly that, caught in the act. Every part of my brain screamed, "Close the door. Get out. Don't look." But shock and fear hit me like a tidal wave, freezing me for a brief second before my instincts kicked in. I slammed the door as hard as I could and turned, my heart pounding so fast I thought it might explode. I ran, zigzagging through the hallways, desperate to escape unnoticed, my mind racing. How could this be happening? Who would believe me if I told them? Finally, I made it back to the main area, trying to blend in, to look calm while my thoughts spiraled out of control. My only goal was to get to my car and drive far, far away from that house, from that moment, from everything I had just witnessed. But it wasn't that simple. One of the younger women at the gathering noticed me slipping away and started calling after me, her voice carrying over the laughter and chatter. "Miss Carrie. Miss Carrie. I know you ain't leaving yet. You ain't leaving yet." Panic set in all over again. I fumbled with my words, trying to respond without revealing too much, trying to explain that yes, I was leaving, that I had to get out and please, just let me pass. Every step toward the exit felt like an eternity. The hallways seemed longer, the voices louder, the air thicker. My hands were shaking, my mind racing with disbelief and fear. I could feel every eye, even if unaware of exactly what I had seen on me. My brain screamed at me to run faster, to not stop until I was in my car, doors locked, engine running, and on the road heading anywhere but there. I finally made it, practically diving into my seat, heart hammering, sweat beading on my forehead, and as I started the engine, I let out a shaky breath I didn't even realize I had been holding. That moment, that house, that discovery, it would haunt me for a long time. Every part of me knew I had to get away, and every instinct screamed that the world I had just stepped into was far darker than anyone could imagine. I tried to play it cool, telling people I just needed to grab something out of my car, but my nerves were shot. "I'll be right back," I lied, trying to calm myself. Then I overheard the pastor's wife telling someone, "I'ma just call Eric," and instructing another woman, "Tell Eric to bring the corn out so we can put it on the grill. Tell my son to bring the corn, tell Eric." And y'all, Eric was the pastor and First Lady's son. My stomach flipped like I'd swallowed a rock. The man I had just caught in the bathroom wasn't just anyone, he was her son. The audacity, the sickening reality of it all, left me frozen. I stared at the pastor's wife, trying to process, and then Eric looked at me. I'm not sure if he saw me when I opened that bathroom door, but I know the pastor did. Yes, what I had witnessed was real, the pastor in the bathroom with his own son. When Eric finally carried the corn out to the grill, my mind was spinning, my body reeling from the shock of what I had just seen. I knew it wouldn't be long before the pastor came out, and let me tell you, if I've ever run in my life, it was that moment. I bolted straight to my car, jumped in, and hauled out of there faster than I ever thought possible. The scene I'd walked in on was burned into my brain, the pastor, in the bathroom, doing the unthinkable with his own son, all while his wife casually asked the boy to bring corn out to the grill. The absurdity and horror of it left me stunned. Of course, the gossip spread like wildfire. Everyone soon knew the truth about what had happened. And for those still asking in my comments why I hadn't spoken up before, yes, the pastor has been exposed. Happy now? Since then, the First Lady has been relentlessly calling me, trying to get others to pressure me into taking my post down. But no, I will not remove it. The story is out, and it will stay out. The First Lady kept begging me to take the post down, but no, I wasn't having it. I mean, why would I remove it if she didn't even know what he had been doing? The truth needed to be out there, and now it is the pastor has been exposed, and his church members know. So for anyone still asking why I hadn't said something sooner, this is exactly why. I put it up so everyone could see it and decide for themselves. The responsibility now lies with the church community. Meanwhile, the First Lady kept calling, trying to get me to remove the post, but honey, no. I'm not taking it down, so save the calls, save the reports. It's staying right there for everyone to witness. Poor lady, she wanted the video gone, but I refused. And I just have to ask, did it even matter if this young man was her stepson or her biological son? Either way, the pastor clearly had issues, and protecting him at this point seemed absurd. He'd been caught red-handed, and there was no turning back. I mean, I get it. You probably don't have anywhere else to turn, but focusing on me taking down a video? That's completely the wrong priority. Why aren't you asking your pastor to get his actions under control instead of worrying about a video? Honestly, the focus is all wrong. And it's not just that. It's getting so out of hand that even some single moms are policing who their sons can date. Believe it or not, I witnessed it firsthand. Just yesterday at Six Flags in the Bay Area, I saw the sheer level of chaos and disrespect among these black girls some of you are raising. They were unsupervised, running in packs, fighting left and right. The fights were so bad the police had to patrol the park because these kids couldn't control themselves. I couldn't even stay. I had to leave early because my own children were looking at me like, what the hell is happening? The lack of supervision, the chaos, the audacity, it was disturbing, shocking, and honestly, heartbreaking. I saw this one girl, maybe 12 years old, talking about some boy named Jeremy, on of all things. Like, seriously? She's 12. And then the other girls were chiming in like it mattered. Meanwhile, the chaos around them was insane. It wasn't even the boys causing trouble, it was the girls fighting multiple times, shutting down parts of the parking lot. At one point, a white woman asked them to tone it down, and they tried to start something with her too. The lack of self-respect and home training was shocking, and honestly, I could see why. I noticed the other kids, white, Mexican, Asian. They were behaving, just enjoying the park. But the black girls? Out of control, arguing, pushing, acting reckless. And the black boys? Totally fine, calm, not involved. I couldn't help but think, if this is the generation of girls being raised like this, We're raising miniature single mothers, kids who don't respect themselves or anyone else. And honestly, some of them were fine, but the overall lack of boundaries and self-discipline was just staggering. She was talking about how out of control some of these young ladies are, even 12-year-olds discussing boys' bodies and behaving recklessly. And yes, she noticed the little black boys with white girls weren't causing any trouble, which made her decide she didn't want her son dating black girls. Sadly, this isn't the first time a parent has said something like that, and it's a tough conversation in the black community. Single moms raising kids with little structure often face these realities, and kids without both parents can stand out in ways that make other families uncomfortable. Nobody wants their child exposed to bad behavior, even if they themselves are single parents. Poor behavior in youth can limit future opportunities for relationships, and honestly, no one wants to deal with kids who are disruptive just because their parents weren't able to provide structure. She works as a waitress at a very upscale restaurant, and even with black guests, issues can arise. People are trying to live their lives, work hard, and build stability. They don't have the bandwidth to navigate chaos created by children acting out, no matter the circumstances. I'm honestly sitting here in tears, furious and confused, because who does that? Who runs out of a restaurant leaving a bill without thinking about the consequences? The whole scene was a mess. Food and weave on the floor, people looking ragged, and me left to clean up the chaos. Meanwhile, my manager tried to act like it was my fault, saying I should cover part of the bill, and when I called him out that's illegal, he backtracked. I did everything I was supposed to do, took the order, checked on the table, and then 2 seconds later they were gone. I'm not sprinting after folks. That's not my job. I was so professional and polite, and it stings that I'm being blamed. No, I'm not paying for a $200 bill because some people decided to be disrespectful and disappear. It's exhausting. They'll be stuck where they are if that's how they act, learning nothing, getting nowhere. Honestly, they're a disgrace, rude, irresponsible, and I'm over it. Alright y'all, so here's the deal. Some people straight up ran out on a bill, leaving the poor waitress stuck holding the bag for their irresponsibility. And let me just say, I love all the roasting y'all are doing in the comments. It's hilarious, but for real, this behavior has got to stop. Skipping out on a meal is one thing, but doing it at a black-owned restaurant? That's just disrespectful. She worked hard, she served y'all with a smile, and y'all just disappear like ghosts. That's not just rude, it's inconsiderate and downright selfish. Food service is one of the hardest jobs out there. You're on your feet for hours, juggling multiple tables, remembering orders, dealing with all kinds of people, and making sure everyone leaves happy. And at the end of the day, the least y'all can do is pay for the food you ate. A little bit of respect goes a long way, people. A little gratitude, a little decency, that's all we're asking for, and it seems like too much for some folks. Now, today's show was absolutely wild. It really had everything you could imagine, and then some. First up, we have the pastor who got caught doing something completely inappropriate with his own son. I mean, y'all, that story alone is just mind-boggling. It's the kind of thing that makes you pause, lean back in your chair, and mutter, wait, what did I just hear? You sit there, trying to process it, thinking, no, that can't be real, and yet it is. It's shocking, it's disturbing, and it's the kind of scandal that shakes your sense of trust in people you thought you knew. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Next, we have the mom who refuses to let her son date black girls. Now, her reasoning comes from what she has seen. She claims there's chaos, misbehavior, and a complete lack of structure among some of the young ladies she's observed. This opens up a whole different kind of conversation, one that is honestly tough, but necessary to have in the community. Parenting isn't easy, and it's complicated by societal pressures, cultural expectations, and the influence of peers. When children grow up without adequate supervision or consistent structure, the effects don't just stay contained, they ripple outward, impacting friends, schools, and even the broader community. It's messy, it's frustrating, and it's something parents and communities have to reckon with. And last, but by no means least, we have the exhausted waitress. She's on the front lines of the story, dealing with customers who either can't pay their bills or choose to run out without paying, leaving her to cover the costs and manage the chaos. This job is incredibly thankless, y'all. It requires patience, endurance, and a kind of grace under pressure that most people don't appreciate until they've walked in those shoes. She has to maintain her composure while navigating all of this, all while being blamed or pressured for things entirely outside of her control. The fact that she continues to do her job, handle each situation with professionalism is nothing short of remarkable. So really, today's show wasn't just wild, it was a full spectrum of chaos, irresponsibility, and jaw-dropping moments. From scandalous secrets to parenting dilemmas to the struggles of those working hard just to get by, it had it all. Each story stood out on its own, yet together, they painted a picture of the unexpected, the frustrating, and the human reality behind headlines and rumors. So, after all these stories, the big question is, who takes the Dusty Award of the day? The moment of suspense is real, and the answer is the pastor's wife. Yep, she takes it home. Honestly, we don't even have a real picture of the pastor, so just imagine any AI-generated pastor, because he is completely down bad, deep in trouble, and there's no coming back from this one. The man is exposed, the truth is out, and there's no hiding from it. And let's be honest, sometimes you just have to call it like it is. People need to see what's really happening, and in this case, it's messy, dramatic, and shocking all at once. But let's go back for a second to the waitress situation because it's worth emphasizing. She didn't do anything wrong. She took the order, served the food, and tried to make sure everyone had a good experience. Yet, despite her professionalism, she ends up responsible for a $200 bill because some people decided to run out. That's outrageous. That's exactly why it's so important to value the people who are working hard every single day to keep things running smoothly. These are not easy jobs. They require patience, skill, and grace under pressure. And yet, the lack of respect from a few bad actors can ruin the day and, worse, financially hurt someone who has nothing to do with their irresponsibility. So, that's it for today, y'all. We've had shocking stories, real talk about parenting, and a reminder to respect the hardworking people in food service. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, and show some love. We appreciate you for tuning in, for listening, and for being part of this wild, messy, entertaining ride we call the news. Until next time, stay alert, stay respectful, and remember, the truth always comes out, no matter what. We out.